Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to this Saturday's edition of Super Conscious Outlet, featured on Blog Talk Radio, Universal Radio 2. We are excited to have as our media spokesperson, God King Grasshopper. He is known in the community as an African-centered motivational teacher and a service provider that inspires the youth to understand African awareness in his local community. He currently supports and facilitates events for the organizations of the Ka Men's Society, the House of Amun-Ra, and Sma Tawi. He sits alongside as co-host with the divine goddess Koshana Kweli Jones. Currently, she facilitates the learning environment as an expert metaphysician who teaches on the principles of African spiritual science. Queen Goddess Koshana is the founder of numerous organizations, the Voice of Mayat, and Global African Awakening, which can be found on Facebook. Her sole purpose in life is to motivate and awaken her people. Please give a special attention to our co-host, God King Grasshopper, and our featured host, Goddess Kweli Koshana Jones.
Peace, love, and bliss, family. Welcome to the Super Conscious Outlet, where we are committed to the awakening of our people. I am your host, Goddess Queen Koshana Kweli, and I am joined today by my amazing co-host, God King Grasshopper. God King Grasshopper, are you with us?
I am present.
Oh, good, good. Today, family, we are so fortunate. We are also going to be joined by two amazing and influential leaders in our community, Goddess Sister Queen, Kateria Knows, and also Brother God, Naazir. But before we get started, let's give a shout-out to our sponsors.
Yes, thank you very much, Queen Goddess Koshana. Let me read off the sponsors. First off on the list, Global African Awakening, which can be found on Facebook.com. It cultivates an environment that is positive for those going through an awakening. If you want more information, simply inbox me, Grasshopper, or Koshana Jones to be a part of this Blacknificent group on Facebook. Another Blacknificent group on Facebook is Blacks Be Like, which can also be found on Facebook.com/Blacks Be Like and the number 1. Also check out My Sister's Keeper, which can also be found on Facebook.com/My Sister's Keepers. I'm going to spell sisters for you, SISTARS. We also have Success Goddess Money. She's an expert with credit repairs, financial consulting, and real estate. To find Super Goddess Money, simply Facebook her at Success, that's SUCCESS, Goddess, GODIS, Money, MONE. We also have fitness trainer Devon Allen, who has a program called Reshape the People's Workout and Meal Plan. He's going to help with helping us physically, mentally, and spiritually. If you want to reach out to him, simply call him at 310-438-0154, or you can email him at things1236@AOL.com. And family and friends, if you are available in the greater Los Angeles area, Sunday morning around 10:30 a.m., we ask you to go and visit the famed Karash Unity Center of African Spiritual Science. The senior minister there is the Righteous Right Reverend Mary Kara. If you want to be anchored in African customs, principles, and the sweet science of spirituality, simply once again go to Karash Unity Center. That's at 7825 Southwestern Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90047. Go up there, get some food for thought, nourishment for the soul, and fruit for the spirit. Thank you for listening, and back over to you, Goddess Koshana Kweli Jones Dower.
Thank you so much. Family, as I said before, we are going to have an amazing show. Today's topic is on tapping into the hidden self, which is deeper than the secret. Our first guest joining us is Goddess Queen Kateria Knows. Brother God Naazir will be joining us the second half of the show, so please stay tuned in. Goddess Queen Kateria Knowles is an amazing young goddess in our community. She is the founder of the Return of the Gods and the Black Family Reunion, and she lives her entire life purpose to create heaven on earth. So, Super Conscious Outlet, let's give a warm welcome to Goddess Queen Kateria Knowles.
Thank you, family. Peace and love. I am here today excited to speak about this topic. This is very, very important, tapping into the hidden self. The hidden self is the self, the higher self that is awakening, bringing us into our higher state of consciousness. Peace and love, Goddess Koshana Jones. Peace and love to Brother God Grasshopper. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Grasshopper, are you with us? Grasshopper, are you with us? I'm going great.
Yes.
I think he stepped away for a second, but he'll be right back.
Okay,
I'm so happy you joined me today too, sis. I'm not sure if you've heard of Naazir, who's going to be joining us later on this evening, but he has a book called The Hidden Self, which is deeper than the secret, which is what I titled the show after.
Yes.
I became familiar with this brother maybe, say around 2011, 2010, and what I found to be amazing about his work was, at that time, The Secret was really popular. Many people are probably familiar with that movie, and we were listening to how they were breaking down the laws of the universe. But it was really profound when I found a documentary that had all African, or for lack of better terms, African American metaphysicians on there. And it really shifted because they added culture to it. So it wasn't as bland as, you just think positive. It actually talked about being ma'at and being in tune with that higher source, and so it had a different spiritual essence to the documentary, which shifted my consciousness immediately. So you've already kind of started with my first question, so I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit further for our listeners. What to you is tapping in to your hidden self? What is your hidden self?
To me, the hidden self definitely lies within the subconscious mind. The hidden self is the part of yourself that your conscious mind does not control. But the hidden self is your higher God. Your hidden self is what allows things to be and exist. Your hidden self is that silent part of creation that has created all things. It is the very essence of your being that is connected to the one source energy, the one source that has created everything in our universe. So, the hidden self, to me, it is the subconscious mind, the most important part of ourselves. And if we can tap more into this energy, this entity, our lives will be much more peace. And like I said before, the subconscious mind is what controls the heartbeat, what controls displaying our inner organs that our conscious minds do not control. And so if we can, and these bodily functions work, perfectly fine and normally, as long as we, are healthy. And if we can just allow more of our subconscious mind to take control of our lives, it will function, our lives will function the way that we wish for them to. So the hidden self, it is that energy that is awakening in us all. It is the feminine essence of the Creator, and that controls the things that are behind the scenes. But those it controls the things that are behind the scenes. But it controls the vitality of life, and in order to really go into that space with the hidden self, we utilize many methods such as meditation, of course, tuning into divine spirituality, and the roots of spirituality, following the laws of Ma'at, and just understanding what our ancient deities meant to us and how they make up certain faculties of our conscious minds and everything, and, our parts of our beingness within. But, doing these certain things as far as meditation or whatnot, and just allowing life to be, studying metaphysics, which is beyond the physical, we can allow that hidden self to, come more to the forefront, or at least, start controlling more of our lives. And when we allow that, our lives, run in the order that we wish for them to. It's about allowance and not force.
That is powerful, and you even went into, my second question. But, God King Grasshopper, you with us?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. I know you had to step away for a moment to take care of our beautiful baby. Yeah, I was ready to go. But I have the same question for you. In your words, what do you think the hidden self is?
Okay, the hidden self. That's a beautiful question, and I can speak on it in so many different ways or answers. First of all, when I tap into my hidden self, I use different methods. One being still. Some may call it meditation. Some may call it silent prayer, whatever the case may be. The reason I say that is whenever I wake up in the morning, if my daughter allows me to have a time to go into stillness, I like to listen to my inner G. The G stands for guidance. Many of us, or some of us, have been programmed under the backwards conceptualization of religion. Religion, to an extent, is to give most of, if not all, your power to a deity outside of you. When people take on that mindset or thinking, it kind of takes the responsibility off of the individual when they make statements like, the Lord's going to work it out, Allah's going to work it out, I ain't got to do nothing, everything is in divine order. Okay, I understand, go with the flow, but if that one sovereign spirit or whatever your personal name is for the sustainer put you on earth to just be idle, then why would he or she or it create you in the first place? No, we have our part to play, too, in this physical expression of living. And when we really tap, for me, when I really tap into my inner G, once again, inner guidance, by being still and talking not to that one sovereign spirit, but talking with the one sovereign spirit, becoming one with the sovereign spirit, connecting with the one sovereign spirit, that's one of the major steps for me when I am really tapping into my inner self. And we can go on and talk about activating the inner self, releasing the inner greatness inside of you, maximizing the inner greatness inside of you, all the great talents, abilities that one sovereign spirit has entrusted within each and every one of us. But for the starting point, for me, I like to be still, call it meditation, call it thinking, be still, and have an inner conversation with your inner self. And what was hidden will come into reality.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. Since we're on that subject and we keep kind of coming to it, the methods of tapping into the hidden self. First, let me just say what the hidden self is to me. The hidden self to me is your true self. I think that we all, deep down inside, we're aware of our truer self. The part of us that we've kind of covered up since childhood. The part of us that was innocent at one point. As a child, you kind of paid attention to the stars, you paid attention to the clouds. You were just kind of, sweet and innocent. And as we get older, it kind of gets hardened within our being, and we kind of move away from it. I think that part of us is where our magic lies. I think that part of us, where our imagination is, I think that's where our hidden self or our real self dwells. And like Goddess Kateria said, it is our higher self. It is our subconscious mind. Since you guys have both kind of touched on the subject of how you tap in, but just to make it a little clearer for the listeners, give a few pointers on your way of tapping into that self to go back to that real version of yourself, the true you, the source. How do you tap into that source? God King Grasshopper. I'm going to ask you first, and then you can also pass that question on to the goddess Sister Kateria knows.
Are you talking about tapping into the hidden self?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I can give you some more. Kind of like expound that a little bit in my opening statements. But okay, no problem. Okay, tapping into the hidden self. Like I mentioned, I guess to understand the spiritual aspect and the communicational aspect of tapping into the hidden self. Let's take it another step further. For me, tapping into the hidden self also deals with studying, also deals with reading. Now, when I was in school, I do believe it was like elementary school, the teacher used to have on his poster, readers are leaders, and I pretty much blew it off, readers. I was under the impression that readers were for squares and lanes, you know what I mean? But as I got awakened and releasing my hidden self, I realized that once you read information that is very constructive to your mind, that captures your curiosity, it also opens up some spiritual endorphins inside. What I mean by that, if you study the root word of education, edu, as the First Honorable Marcus Naazir Garvey teaches, edu means to draw out. I think so many people are kind of suppressing their hidden self because they're constantly getting backwards advice, idle suggestions from other people that's not really in sync with their intuition or their energy. So with reading, homemade education, reading to capture your curiosity, things that really prick your consciousness, that really prick your soul, that really prick your spirit, can also release that energy, because once we read, I'm talking about Marcus Garvey, I'm talking about things that is really in sync with your life's mission, it can bring out that energy, because I'm truly not convinced, but I truly know that we were put here on earth to accomplish great things, and we have all the capabilities, the abilities, the talents, the skills to make some positive contributions to society, spiritually, mentally, and definitely physically. So for me, another aspect of tapping and activating into my energy is, first of all, recognize what you put on earth to do. Secondly, once you recognize what you put on earth to do, the energy within, then we need to release it. Go out there and do some things. The old saying, knowledge is power, not necessarily true. The application of knowledge is somewhat almost to arrive in the power, meaning you got to go out and try different things. You got to go out and see what works for you. Once again, getting to the point of releasing that hidden self, releasing that energy. And once you release it and bump your head and may miss the mark at times, or go through a mistake, hyphenate the word, turn it into a mistake, continue to do it, because repetition is the mother and father of learning, then I am truly, not convinced, but I truly know that when we really maximize our truest potential is when we execute the knowledge that has been entrusted within us, along with the abilities that one sovereign spirit has deposited within us as a spiritual being living a human experience. So for me, activate the inner self, find out what you put here on earth to accomplish, what that sovereign spirit put you on earth to do. Then you got to go out and release it, because experience is the greatest and perhaps the only means of true learning. And then once you bump your head and once you find out who you really are, then execute it. Duplicate yourself, master yourself, manifest yourself to the greatest and highest performance. And then that hidden self, once again, will be seen throughout humanity and throughout the world. Damn, Mama.
Wow. Shoshana?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I'm here, Goddess. I'm sorry. You said so many amazing things. Just to maximize your potential and to go out, once you find out what you're here on the earth to do. Just that statement alone sends chills down my spine, because it's amazing when you really accept your purpose and you recognize why you were created. Everything on this earth has a purpose. Chairs, the trees, the ocean water, the everything has its purpose. And when you finally discover what your purpose is, that is the most amazing day of your life. And to maximize on that and to actually activate it and to go for it, that is really tapping in. But before we go to our goddess, Sister Kateria knows, we do have one caller, and I want to let them in. Caller with the last 4 digits, 1689. You're on with the Super Conscious Outlet.
Peace, Goddess Coach Shauna. This is Brother Devin.
Hi, Brother Devin. I haven't heard you in a while. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. You know what? It's funny. It's funny because my spirit is trying to get my attention, but it was telling me, oh, you're on the radio right now. We can wait, and I was like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So how you been?
I've been doing all right. I just wanted to share a recent experience that I had with the Oversoul, because esoterically we know that the Oversoul is actually the Holy Spirit from inside of you. And the Holy Spirit is nothing more than your own soul.
Yes.
So I remember when I was meditating, and I actually had on what they call holy harmonics, and I was repeating the words to the song, and as I was repeating it, I saw from inside myself, and I felt the energy and the presence of my own soul, and it was showing me my purpose, that I wasn't just going to be doing one thing, but I was going to be doing a few other things, like I was going to be in an auditorium lecturing and doing music. And doing music and writing books, so there's a reason why I was studying reincarnation in the Bible today. It was just fun.
Right. I think that's so deep what you just said, because a lot of things that we're doing, for all of our listeners, a lot of things that you find yourself doing, it's your higher self trying to get your attention. You find yourself all of a sudden you want to study the Bible. All of a sudden you want to find out what yoga is, or you just find yourself looking at certain things, and you're all of a sudden drawn to them. Your higher self and your I wouldn't say your lower self, but your higher self and your physical self, you're living what we call a duality. You are both existing at the same time. And that higher self has never left you. So it's the one that's guiding you. It's that higher voice in your head that's like, you know what, you're going to be great one day. And you kind of like ignore that voice, or you kind of think, no, not me. It can't be me. Why me?
Right. But you know what? When I heard it, I never ignored it. I went with it. I was excited. I was ready to go. And
powerful! I love that.
And my guides were telling me, because they know my situation, and they know I'm in a wheelchair and everything, and they said be peaceful, don't cause any chaos, meaning not to argue, and just respond, because I'm living with people that really don't have any interest in helping me with my path, so I have to do everything by myself. But I realize that I'm not by myself. I do have my guides. I do have my guides helping me, and what I was told by the Council of Elders is that they're going to put people into my life to actually help me where I need to be. So I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited for you, and I'm so happy that you are listening to that. One of the things I was going to say earlier, which you brought up, that, you just sparked it in me, was to surrender. For many people who want to know how to tap into that hidden self, it comes with surrendering to your higher calling. It comes with, letting go of the resistance. We fight it. We all are amazing beings.
We do. We do.
And it's like, surrender to it now. You know what it is. You know it. And drop your oars, let the river take you, because you will land right where you need to be at the very right moment in your life.
Right.
I love it. Thank you so much for calling in, Brother Devin. I appreciate you. Continue to listen in. Go ahead, brother.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Sister Goddess Kateria.
Yes.
What do you have to say about what the brother said? I know you're really very versed in spirit guides and things like that happening. You heard his story. The brother, he's in a wheelchair, and the spirits have come in his life and told him what his higher calling is, and he's excited. What do you have to say to that?
I was listening to that story. I think it's pretty amazing, and but it's definitely a natural thing. He should just, be definitely in more silence and allow that energy to guide him, and, he'll start seeing different signs all around him, different things trying to show him more of who he is or more of what he is to do. It definitely sounds like a great spiritual awakening coming into his life.
I love it. And you know why I love it, because I've shared with you so many times how my awakening was, and my awakening, which took place almost going 11 years now, it was very similar. I was told that I wasn't teaching yet. I wasn't a teacher. The ancestors came to me and yours too, over a 7-day period, and they showed me everything that I was going to become. And every day of my life for the last 10 years, what they have said has been manifesting for me. And I have plenty of witnesses, because I came back and I told them, they said I was going to be a teacher. They said I was going to do this. They said I was going to do that. And so it's so amazing to me when we realize that we have a connection to something that is, it may not be seen physically, but it is definitely felt spiritually. And you are not alone, that you are not here to suffer and to wander around, like Grasshopper said earlier, to just be here stagnant without any direction. If you surrender and you listen to that inner voice that has been whispering to you since the moment you were manifested on this planet, you will realize you have guidance. You have guidance, and you have spiritual energies that are supporting your growth. And they know you. They know you. For instance, many of you who are not familiar with Sister Kateria, I have watched her life reflect everything she said they told her. And I remember when she first started going through her awakening, it was as if an energy had took over her being, and I call it being in a trance almost. And many of you guys who are familiar with this experience, you guys know what I'm talking about. But this higher self, this hidden self, becomes alive, and it becomes you. Maybe you can touch on your experience a little bit, how your awakening went.
Well, what I wanted to touch on was with how to tap more into it, and then I'll get a little bit into my own personal story with, coming into my hidden self. But I kind of wanted to jump on Brother Grasshopper's back when, he was talking about how tapping into the hidden self, different ways of doing that. Like he said, studying and knowing one's purpose. And those are, really vital, very essential ways.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of put it together by saying studying thyself, studying thyself. And one of my best tools that I utilized, it started at the age of 11 years old when I started studying astrology. Because when you study astrology and you know your own astrological makeup, you will understand the story of heaven on earth and heaven's own influence within your life. And, our government uses astrology to cast out certain things that they're doing. The ancients used this ancient science to map out the cities, to, build the pyramids, as well as grow the different foods. The different foods that we have here on the planet have been grown and, were planted based on the movement of the stars. So these stars, astrology, and the story of it, it allows things to grow within our lives and manifest in a physical form. And so when you when you get a natal chart read, and you know your own being, and you know the movement and the map of the stars upon oneself, you start to know a whole lot more about who you are in your purpose in life. Like, I started studying astrology when I was 11 years old. I knew I was an Aquarius, and then when I was about 16, I casted my own chart manually. It took me some time to do it, though, because, it's a lot of mathematics that goes into it. And, I was just doing it all by hand and not using the computer to just calculate for me or whatever. And, it told me I was a Virgo rising and a moon in Pisces and gave me all of my houses. And so when I did that, I was able to see, I'm not just an Aquarius, who's rebellious and a little eccentric and different from others, and into science and into astrology, the art form itself, which is ruled by Aquarius, and that's why it's coming more and more about during this 12,000-year cycle while we're in the age of Aquarius. But, I just learned way more about myself. I learned that I had a moon in Pisces, and, so I could be very defensive, and I'm very sensitive to others' feelings and emotions as well as my own. So it was hard for me to take in criticism and different things. And, I fought a lot because, if something offended me, I was easily offended. So just knowing those different things, it allowed me to place myself and be comfortable in my position. Because a lot of times people, now I never experienced this myself, but a lot of times people want to be other people, or they're like, oh, I wish that was my life, or I wish I could be more like her, or, I wish I could be more like him. But when you understand your astrological lineup and you know who you are and you're just as divine as the next person because you were made from the same creator in the same stardust and, mapped out under the same heavens, you have no fear of thyself and you have no want to be another being. So then you just, learn more about yourself, and you are the most interesting thing on this planet when you really unfold all the ways and all the avenues of who you are. Astrology breaks down the different sicknesses in your body. It can go through and tell you where's the best place for you to work. I know that I'm a great motivational speaker, and I'm good for radio. I'm good for speaking to the masses and things of that nature because I am a Gemini midheaven, and
right.
The midheaven is your career placement. And then I know that my whole life is as a servitude to the people because I have my sun, my Aquarius sun, it lies in my 6th house, the house of service or work. It's also the house of health. Right. So I dedicate my whole life as a servitude to the people. But, yeah, that was definitely one of my best tools in tapping into the hidden self because, the astrology isn't just readily there. But when you actually study it or you have someone read your chart for you and break it down to you, you really start to understand who you are a lot more clearly. But then there's other tools that I used, and what I went through, what I actually went through with my own spiritual awakening and becoming more aligned with my hidden self was, it was a natural occurrence. I knew it was coming, so I had it back in 2011. I had my spiritual awakening, but I knew it was coming. So for my birthday of 2011, January 31st, I threw an alter ego birthday party where, I was dressed as a vampire. I ate a bunch of cupcakes. I had a crazy piñata that had all kind of crazy adult paraphernalia like condoms and weed and little tiny plastic bottles of alcohol. I went to the extreme because I knew something was coming and that something was going to change me forever. So I went to Vegas. I partied with my friends. I got all these things out of my system. and I was telling everybody I know that I'm about to change, and when I change, these things will not be of interest to me anymore. And so coming in April, I asked my sister, Bianca, the herbal alchemist. You can also find her on Facebook. I asked her to move in with me because she was already vegan and, eating raw foods, and she was just showing how that was, connecting her spirituality and bringing her more into her higher self. And I just wanted to change my diet because I didn't want to eat any foods anymore. I was, losing so much weight because I just didn't want to eat anything. And so when I had her move in, I was just eating, natural foods. My mind became much more clear, and August the 3rd, I had energy just take over my being, and it lasted for 7 days, my spiritual awakening, where I was just given all these premonitions, and I was told who I was, and, it was really drastic. Different things were happening. Car alarms were going off, and fires being started and everything, and but I allowed the energy to happen, and that's the number one way of allowing yourself to align with your hidden self is allowance, because we got to understand this energy is, the feminine energy of the Creator, and I mean feminine, but not gender-based. The feminine energy of the Creator, which allows things to have a natural flow. It's like the flowing river. You don't try to stop the river, you just allow it to flow. And that's the same with meditation. Meditation is teaching us to allow things to just be, to just occur. Right. And allow your to move like that, and you're not trying to fight against it and trying to be outside of yourself and trying to, do things that are not natural into your nature. Then you're going to slow. If you don't do those things, then the hidden self is going to just start to birth and unfold within your being, and you will just be aligned with that energy and live a more spiritual path, a more divine, righteous path, and it makes your life. It just gives you that aha feeling where everything
right.
is
that aha moment. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. This is Grasshopper. Very enlightening, very profound pearls of wisdom that you displayed before us, Queen, Sister Pateria Knows. And it seems like you are getting into a habit of not just visiting, but also living out the reality of your higher self. And that's one thing I respect about you, along with my queen, is that you guys are going to really tap in, really go deep into really being yourself, regardless of who may turn an eye at you or who may have criticism. It shows that you guys are unapologetically who you are, living out your higher self. And we got a call on the line, the last 4 digits, 5910 5910. You're on Superconscious Outlet. Talk to us.
Hey, family. This is Liz Rebecca. Hotep, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Goddess Sister Liz.
Hey. I am loving this show so far. I'm just really just sitting here like, that is so true. Everything that you guys are saying is just touching me. My hidden self is to me it's like my true self that I somewhat strayed away from a long time ago due to outside influences, work, problems with the family, And I used to be afraid to let her go and to let her shine at times. Just being myself, I forgot how to do that. However, my higher self lately have been coming at me during the night telling me to let go and live a little. And I never paid attention to her in the past. And these days, my higher self is telling me, Liz, do this. It will work. Don't listen to what anyone else has to say about what you need to do. You know what you need to do, and you know you. So I have stopped listening to what people have to say about telling me what I need to do, what I need to try, what I need to study. I've just been following my own way, and it's been working for me. And my only struggle these days is that when you know that you are something greater than what you portray to people, you know this, you can hear it, you can feel it. You sometimes stray away from that a little bit because you don't want to offend or lose loved ones. But then at the same time, it's not fair to you for you not to live up to what you know you can do, because it's easy to do. you know. So that's my only struggle right now. But it's a process, and I know I'm going to come out of that way. But what you guys are saying, it's making so much sense to me, because I'm sitting here like, oh, just let go. Who cares if the people love you just because when you change and you just be yourself, if people can't love you for that, they don't need to be in your life, regardless of who it is. So I am just truly loving this show for that. For you guys,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know, for me,
for the call.
You know that poem. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that poem. Nelson Mandela did it at his inauguration, but it's letting your light shine, but it talks about not dimming yourself down to make other people feel great. And I think we all struggle with that. I really do. I think we all struggle with that, because when I've had the same issue, and I want to say two things. One thing I really did recognize, and this is the honest truth, because in high school I used to be way meaner. I've always been a sweet person. I've always been spiritual, but I went through foster care, so I learned to have a defense mechanism, you know, of not allowing people to know how sweet I was, because if they knew, they would take advantage of it, and it would be considered a weakness. And so I told myself that for years, you know, I have to be a certain way to get respect. And so for years I was stuck in this false persona for years. And one day, after my awakening, actually, when I went through my awakening, I learned to let them down my guards. And I learned to show people the real me, the spiritual me, the one who wants to talk about God all day, the one who wants to meditate, and the one that just wants to say I love you even if I don't know your name, you know, the one that wants to hug you and you don't even know who I am. I had to let her out. I just had to let her out. And what I learned from becoming her, more people loved me. It's the most amazing thing. People who I looked at as enemies growing up come up to me now and they give me hugs, and they feel comfortable with me, and they respect me more. And so what I've learned is let her out. Let her out. You know, you will be so surprised how much the world has been waiting to meet the real you. You will be surprised. It will not turn out, you know, well, people see that I'm great, they're going to turn away. No, what really happens is you really do inspire greatness out of others. You really do. I remember before I even had the radio show, specifically to you, Goddess Liz, I remember before I had the radio show, I would listen to your show, and I would look at your post in the Ancient Egypt group. And I don't go in there very often anymore, but I would look at it, and that inspired me. It inspired me. So you tapping into who you are and showing us goddesses how great we can be. You inspire others.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sister. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I'm going to continue listening in on the show.
Thank you, Goddess.
Thank you for calling.
All right, Hotep family.
Hotep
to you, family. Hotep. Yes, indeed. First of all, this is some very enlightening and honorable discourse. I want to pose a question to the two goddesses that's on the line when it comes to, we'll say, metaphysicians. I'm a part of, you could say, the revolutionary movement, you know, and I'm also a part of the metaphysical movement, you know, newer to the metaphysical movement than I am to the revolutionary movement. And I would like to know what are some of the takes, or what is the metaphysicians' views on the likes of a Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, and the situation that happened with the brother in, I think it was in New York, that got choked out by the police. What are your take on that? How do good people or innocent people attract bad situations? Because I hear a lot metaphysicians deal with the mind, and I would like to know how do good people or innocent people attract bad situations. Is it their fault, or is it just being at the wrong place at the wrong time? I know some don't believe in the coincidences, so I know a lot of people that's in the revolutionary movement, some in the RBG movement, are really curious about how metaphysicians feel about situations such as Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin. Hold on, let me finish. Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, and so many others who have been slandered or victims of race crimes, police brutalities, stuff of that magnitude.
Indeed. That's Sister Koshani, do you want to answer that?
I'll let you go first. I definitely have an answer for it because I think it's a great question and we do need to touch on it for people who are still trying to figure it out. But go ahead, go first, sis, and I'll just chime in after you.
I just had a quick answer to something that I wanted to touch on first. You said, is it their fault? Well, everything that happens in our lives is our fault. Anything that happens to us is our fault. But we got to understand that we are a part of oneness, a great awakening. So that happening to those guys they are a part of us. That's, showing a part of us. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's sacrificial energy, but it's going to wake up more people. That happening to these young brothers, there's a lot of our people who don't believe in the black movement or who don't understand our people or who have strayed far away. But the more that they try to disconnect themselves to the African spirit within, we're going to have certain killings and things like that happening to wake those other people up. But just how you said you're a part of the metaphysical movement and the RBG and the revolutionary side of life, I am too. And, I'm definitely one with it. But as far as our personal lives, we do bring certain negative instances into our lives by what we have allowed our subconscious mind to be programmed through the music, through the TV, through the media. And I definitely say shut those things out, no matter how hard it is, but don't allow your subconscious mind to be filled with that because we create more of these things happening outside of ourselves around the world just by imagining this happening, imagining, the police killing this person. And the government understands the power of our subconscious minds as well, why they put these negative images out there on television and all through the social media, but they won't push the story of the little black boy saving a little girl. You only hear that once. But the negative stories, you hear those flourishing throughout to keep us in a negative state of mind, to keep us angry, to keep us upset, and to keep our vibrations riding on a lower nature. But that's just my bit that I wanted to share with it. And peace and my much condolences goes out to the family of Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, and others. I love them. They are part of me. They're a part of all of us. And hopefully their stories can awaken more of our people to understand that we are in a warfare, spiritual warfare, and we must tap within to our higher power to stop these instances from happening and continuing.
I love that. I agree with everything you said, sis. One of the things that I do want to explain as far as metaphysics goes, okay, you are born into a vibration. We are born into one or two vibrations. The one vibration is love and the other vibration is fear. And you're born into that vibration from the moment you are creating yourself in your mother's womb. And even before that, when you were just a thought in your mother's mind, okay? Being that we're born into a vibration, we're automatically vibrating. We bring things into our existence through what we vibrate with. So you ask the question, how do good people have bad things happen to them? There is something that is a vibrational match within that person's being that is also a vibrational match to the person who is doing the victimizing. So the victim has a vibrational match with the victimizer. There's something there that brought them together. You don't just end up at a street corner, just you, no one else did but you, and there happens to be someone there who's robbing you. Though you two people have something in common, and that's very hard to understand, especially if you're new to metaphysics and you're trying to figure out, well, how could a person ask to be murdered? How could a baby ask to be hurt? Well, you have to understand that there's a few different aspects that are playing along. First, we have either a predetermined destiny, meaning based on our hereditary pattern, based on our DNA, based on our family's history, based on our mother's experiences, our father's experiences, our life is predetermined. And I mean it is predetermined to a T. Many of you guys who are listening have, some people have gone without knowing their father. And they come across their father in their late 30s and they realize, wow, we are doing the same thing. You were a musician, I'm a musician. You love to eat chocolate. I love to eat chocolate. There's all these things in common, and you haven't even been raised by that person because your life is predetermined based on your family's history, based on all of those things, unless you learn by some chance that you're creating your own reality and you can change it and shift it yourself. If you don't learn that, you will go along on this world living out the ideas of your mother, your dad, whatever they experienced. And I know this from firsthand experience myself. I learned this from firsthand experience myself. For a long time, for instance, I shared with you guys before that I was a foster child. I went to foster care at the age of 12 and a half, going on 13. My mother was removed from foster care at the age of 12 and a half, going on 13. I didn't know my mother until I was 16 years old. There were so many things that we had in common that until I understood how my mind worked, my life was literally paralleling with her life. And there's certain things that I am just like my father in. So we have to understand that. That's why it's so important, and I always say, write your future, write what you want to manifest, script your own life, because if you don't, it is predetermined by whatever your mother's experiences were, whatever your father's experiences were. That's one aspect. Then we also have the aspect of projected thoughts, media, like Goddess Kateria was touching on. Many of us, when something like that happens, you know what we say? This won't be the last time it happens. Many people say that. Something negative happens in the Black community, it always happens. These are things that keep creating the same energy in our life. Yes, you have to understand that for us to shift our reality. Yes, we have to understand that what we give 100% of our attention to and what we fear the most will manifest. So we have to get to a state where we are teaching our young brothers like Oscar Grant and Trayvon Martin how their minds work. I think for those who are listening to the Phil Valentine show we did a few weeks ago, our Baba shared with us that some of the thoughts we're having are projected thoughts. They're not even our thoughts. They're coming from all types of other sources. So you may have no idea what Oscar Grant was thinking, what Trayvon Martin was thinking. And as far as maybe a baby who hasn't even been, here on Earth for a long time, they're carrying on the genetic memory of their parents. The DNA and our DNA has receptors on it that receives information that has memory. So we carry on certain patterns from our parents. So a child goes through, and I'm talking from firsthand experience. I went through a lot of experiences. I won't go into full detail, but a lot of my experiences literally paralleled my mother's life. And my mother wasn't in my life. She left when I was 3 years old. So how did I end up living the same experiences that she experienced? And I was living those experiences until I learned to control my own reality. So I know RBG, revolutionaries, and metaphysicians, I know that, that sometimes we have a gray area, we're bumping heads, but I believe that the RBG and metaphysician reality need to become one. Metaphysics is revolution. It is revolution. Learning how to manifest your own reality, that's revolution. Learning that you're creating, learning how to not allow your people to be attracting police. I'm gonna end here, but I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'm gonna let you go back. God King Grasshop. I remember from myself, I used to have this bitter hate for police, and I mean it was strong. I used to focus on them all day long. I would talk about them all day, what they did, 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 what they're doing, what they're doing, what they're doing, and I gave 100% of my energy to police instead of manifesting paradise in our reality. And eventually I was one-on-one with the police. And I remember coming to that reality like, wait a minute, learning how the law of attraction works. That's interesting. I was talking about them all the time. I was thinking about them and speaking about them all the time. And before I knew it, I was dealing with them face to face. So we have to learn these laws of the universe because our universe is very organized. It's not just happening randomly. Everything in this universe has an order. The sun, the moon, the winter, spring, fall, summer, all of that is in order.
And it is happening to us in a certain order, too. Our life is not random. For instance, like they say on one of the documentaries, The Secret, a good person can jump off a building and they're going to hit the ground. A bad person can jump off a building, they're going to hit the ground, because there's a law called gravity. And there are certain laws in our universe that are operating, and they are controlling our reality. And until we learn how to use those laws for our betterment, we will always deal with the detriment of it. So for me, the answer is yes, they are creating their reality, even when it's a reality that we do not want to accept. And like Goddess Kateria knows, and we're also helping in creating that reality by us projecting those thoughts when we watch certain movies, when we say this is what always happens in our community, Black people always deal with, when we use words like always, when we don't understand that our life is created by what our parents and their parents and what their parents have experienced, we live a certain life. So until we learn to tap in all the way into our hidden self, we will deal with certain situations.
Shay, woo-wee. Y'all came with it. Like I definitely, I'm in agreement with pretty much what you sisters were expounded on, and definitely talking about the project thoughts and all those other essentials as it pertains to the atrocities that a lot of our brothers are going through. And I'm definitely in agreement with you both that the metaphysicians and the revolutionaries of the RBG should be one, because, as you stated, that metaphysics is a revolutionary and an evolutionary movement. Now, you pretty much brought it up a little bit, Queen Goddess Koshana, that the RBGs, or the Black nationalists, and the astrologists and the metaphysicians, to some degree, have been bumping heads. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had cats talking to me and asking me these questions, and I wanted to bring them to this program today. And I recall, I was talking to this young man, he's into the movement, into astrology and metaphysics, and he was making a statement that said that, what Huey P. Newton did in the 60s, what George Jackson did, and it didn't work. It didn't work. They was unsuccessful. Pretty much they lost. And he said, we don't need to do what they did right now because the times are different. Now, to an extent, he definitely made some valid points. We don't have to continue to parrot what they did in the 60s, because the 60s for the 60s, and what's going on in 2014 is for what's going on right now. So, but I had to talk with the young man, because he was under the impression that the original Black Panther Party was just about gun toting and shoot it out with the police officers, law enforcement, And he asked me, are you into like George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson, Huey P. Newton, And I said, absolutely. I'm coming from that crop. My peoples, my uncles, they're from those cats. They the ones that got me into where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? And I had to tell the young man, that the Panther Party was not just about gun toting and yelling and being loud, calling law enforcement pigs. It wasn't just about that. They were about educating the people. Most of those people in the 60s were illiterate. They could barely read. The great ancestor Fred Hampton Sr. put together a free food program for little children, which WIC is now doing right now. And I had to tell the young man, when you make statements like that saying that what George Jackson and Jonathan Jackson, what Huey Newton, what Fred Hampton did not work, that is kind of disrespectful. And that's where some of the RBG cats and revolutionaries, I'm speaking on their behalf, have a little riff with some of the metaphysicians. Not you're on the line, or those that might be listening, but it seems like some of the metaphysicians are getting a little bourgeois and arrogant with their knowledge. Like they got this knowledge and they seem to be superior to those who are doing the groundwork, not to say metaphysicians are not doing the groundwork. And I was just saying to the young man, that just for like revolutionaries, if you don't know something about metaphysicians, if you don't know something about certain criteria of ideologies, you shouldn't just ostracize it because you don't know about it. You shouldn't just try and downplay it or try and ridicule it because you don't know about it. And the same with some of the metaphysicians. If you feel you got some superior knowledge, there's a way you can teach who might not be aware of certain attributes or certain levels of knowledge and awareness that you may have. So what has been one of the rifts within the community is that people are starting to look at each other sideways because on one end, some people are trying to criticize another person because they feel what they're doing is just spookism or abnormal. And on the other end, some people are taking offense to those thinking they're coming with a petty bourgeoisie attitude because they got so much knowledge and they use a lot of rhetoric to prove that they are putting in the work. And like I told the young man, whether you're metaphysicians, whether you're intellectual, whether you're black power, whether you're black nationalist, Pan-Africanist, your rhetoric is going to have its time to phase out. The rhetoric and the action need to coincide with each other. You need to have the knowledge, but also you need to have an outreach. You need to reach out to the people and teach them. We have a saying that I think I said it before. In Smata, we Sons, Dar Sankofa, is that we reach out to the person, meaning we're not going to speak at them or to them or over them, but we're going to lock arms with them and reach out to them and find out something about them. And then once we find out something about them, that's one of the reasons why the food program works. We feed their bellies, we feed them, then we'll be able to give them some teachings of different history or different sciences. They'll be more open and receptive. So that's pretty much what I want to expound upon today, is that, yes, I do believe we need more, both of them, and like you sisters are talking about, what we think about, we definitely going to manifest. So we need to think we want it to happen and not the opposite of that, though.
Oh, found. We do have one more caller, and then we're going to take a break and come back with Brother Naazir Ra. So we'll take that last caller, go on our break, and we do have Brother Naazir Ra joining this show. So caller with the last four digits, 1450, are you with us?
Hello.
Hi, Brother J. Allen. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Black Excellence, Brother J. Allen.
All right. You know what? I heard you guys speaking about the natal chart. I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys have a place where somebody can go to get some further information on that?
On your birth chart?
Correct.
Goddess Kateria Knows can touch on that. And she's also going to do a show for us where she'll be doing birth charts. But okay. Goddess Kateria Knows?
Yes, I do birth chart interpretations as far as getting more information on astrology or the breakdown of birth chart. While I give birth chart interpretations, I teach astrology. I think you can find some information on cafeastrology.com, one of my favorite sites. There's also astro.com, and then you can look up the group on Facebook called Cosmophysics, and then Cosmophysics Radio with Brother Ra Akud, the Cosmo physician. He's literally the best astrologer in our world right now. So he's my teacher as well.
Thank you, Brother J. Allen, for calling in.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for the call, Brother J. Allen.
No doubt.
Okay, family, we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we will have our amazing guest speaker, Brother God Naazir Ra, joining the show. So stay tuned. We'll be back within a few minutes.
See you in about 5.
Peace, family, and welcome back to the Super Conscious Outlet. So far, we have been having a very in-depth and amazing conversation on the topic, tapping into your hidden self, a deeper than the secret. Like I spoke on before, I did get that exact subject or topic from a book and documentary I read by an amazing, influential leader in our community, Brother God Naazir Ra, and it's called The Hidden Self, Deeper Than the Secret. So, family, we are going to welcome on the show Brother Naazir Ra. Brother Naazir Ra has been a student of metaphysics, religion, and psychology for over 2 decades. He has studied Arabic, Hebrew, and the Kemetic hieroglyphs in his quest to understand human spirituality. Naazir holds a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University in history and science. He also holds a master's degree in educational leadership from the University of West Georgia. Naazir is all about action and results. He empowers a wide range of diverse people with practical, usable techniques to transform their lives without a lot of fluff and irrelevant information. Naazir challenges the entire human race to take responsibility as the most intelligent beings on the planet. He is calling humanity to step up to our power to transform ourselves from the inside out so that we may transform our world. In 1999, Naazir produced a best-selling meditation CD entitled The Sleeping Serpent, Morning Meditation. The CD has been a tremendous success and continues to receive outstanding feedback because of how fast and effective it is. His first book, The Hidden Self, A Guide to the Metaphysical Self, is located in bookstores nationwide and continues to astound critics worldwide. His second book, The Hidden Power, How to Manifest Your Dreams, is rocking the world of personal development as he gives practical techniques to attract anything you desire into your life. Naazir has released his latest book, The Access Code to Zion, How to Live the Frequency, which is being critically acclaimed as his most powerful book to date. I want the Super Conscious Outlet to send a warm welcome to Brother God, Naazir Ra. Welcome, brother.
Wow, thank you so much
brother.
for that. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by that bio. I'm over here saying, is that me? But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for joining our show. It is such an honor to have you on. Your work has literally changed and transformed my life. We have Goddess Kateria Knowles also joining us back. Goddess Kateria, are you with us?
Yes, I'm back. Had to unmute.
Oh, wonderful. And Brother God King Grasshopper, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good job.
Wonderful. So thank you, family, for all joining us back for the show. I just want to dive right in, Naazir Ra. First, I want to ask you, what inspired you to do the documentary? And it's called The Hidden Self, a deeper secret.
Right.
Correct, a deeper secret. What inspired you to do that movie, and why did you subtitle it A Deeper Secret?
Well, when I wrote The Hidden Self, which was compiled from my journals, going through different schools and going through different organizations and just really tapping into metaphysics and psychology and just being on the path, I had gotten married and I had all of these journals, and we were moving, and I was going through the journals, and I just want to give you the background because it really stems from the book. So the Spirit told me I need to get this out to the people because there was so much information once I distilled out all the personal things in these journals that I wanted to get this out. So this is what birthed The Hidden Self, which is a distillation of the different lessons and that I've learned and passing on of certain metaphysical, quantum, mechanical technology that I was able to apply. So I put it into The Hidden Self, which is actually it's a small book, it's a very readable book, but it's very concentrated. So with that being said, it caused a lot of questions. This book was selling worldwide. It was crazy. Sweden, Australia, Germany, all over, across all racial lines and, ethnicities. So I would get a lot of questions. I went ahead on my first website. I had my personal email address there, and people took advantage of that with email. So what I decided to do, instead of responding to each particular email individually, I felt more people could benefit if I just went ahead and just did a whole documentary. I loved the movie The Secret, and I felt like there was so much more that movie didn't show. They give you a glimpse of it at the beginning of The Secret. If you remember, the lady is going through the old chest, and she comes with all of these, and they showed how the soldiers are coming in. It seems like Roman soldiers or Greek soldiers are coming in to ransack the camp, and they're running off, and they have to dig and hide and bury the information, and then it gets uncovered. But they don't go into the origin a lot of it, which goes back to exactly. So this is why I entitled it "The Deeper Secret." Giving people the science, but also giving people the history, because of the tradition of a lot of the origins of this spirituality is usually concealed. So we wanted to bring that to the light. Absolutely.
And that's what I thought was really profound about your work, because I saw The Secret also, and I enjoyed watching that. But when I saw your documentary, I don't even know how I came across it. I may have been YouTubing, or I did something. And I found it, and it was all African American, for lack of better terms, African people doing the African metaphysicians, and it had a cultural element to it, which glued all of the information back to where its true source was. And like you said, we all saw the beginning of The Secret. A lot of people even missed that part where it shows it was stolen out of ancient Kemet and how it's been hidden. The real secret is that it was our secret. But a lot of people miss that part. But when I saw that, oh my goodness! And I'm a teacher, so I had to order it. I had to have all my students watch it. I had to have everyone order it and see how the different essence of it when it has an African. And I'm not saying that it wasn't taught correctly from the source of The Secret, but when you throw the culture back into it, when you throw the history back into it. Because that is why I think it has had such an impact for our communities, because it's bringing us back to knowledge of ourselves. And
absolutely.
So your documentary was profound. I mean, for those who are listening, if you haven't already gotten a copy or haven't seen it, you have to see The Hidden Self, a Deeper Secret. You have to check that out, because it's literally a deeper secret. It's deeper than The Secret.
Yes,
and it has all black metaphysicians, which is really, really powerful. I have another question for you real quick. Oh wait, you know what? Let's take a caller, and then I have a question for you. Caller with the last 4 digits, 8387. Are you with us? (8387). Are you there? Okay, I don't hear them, so we'll move on. Oh, they hung up. Okay, we'll move on. Brother Naazir, I've noticed that you have added L to your name. Naazir on your other page is L Netter, or how do you pronounce it?
It's Naazir El Nettara, and that's my full name. That is the original name that I had back in the mid-'90s when I was part of the Kemetic Mesahite mission, which is something that we started some years ago when I first got started. But yeah, that's just the full name. I kind of condensed it, and I'm looking to condense it just to Naazir, because I'm moving away from these titles and these names. It's about simplicity, and it's about just being pristine. So but yeah, did you want to know what the L stands for? Or was that what?
I do.
Okay. I'll just tell you the whole name. Naazir means observant. It comes from Arabic. L is the definite article the, which is one of the words the definite article that precedes any word of the Most High in the Hebraic tradition, such as El Shaddai, El Hadi, those types of things, those different attributes. So the L is that. It's the definite article. It means the. Netter means divine. It means of God, from the Kemetic tradition. And Ra, of course, is Ra. It's the source energy, the source solar energy in which all the Neteru have their origin. So that kind of, I guess I dipped into a lot of cultures, right? I got the Arabic, I got the Hebrew, and the Kemetic. And it's interesting because it follows a chronology, and this is coming to me now. The Arabic aspect of Naazir goes back has its origin in the Hebrew, which goes back to Kemet, but Kemet has its origin to Atlantis and to the stars. So it's just one of the things that the names that I had, and I decided to condense it just to Naazir Ra.
Oh, wow, because I've been noticing a lot of people with the L, and I was like, I wonder what the L is standing for. But I love that name. That is a powerful name.
Yeah,
Now,
L is God. L is God. It's the Hebraic aspect. If you notice, all the angelic beings have L. Jibrael or Gabriel, Raphael,
right.
Uriel, Michael. So it's all speaking to their function through the conduit of El, which is the deity that they were up under. So that's all that is, the history of it.
Right, right. I have a question for you. And at any time, Brother God, Hop, and Sister Kateria, you guys are more than welcome to chime in. Before you joined the show, we had a few questions that we were talking about. And I want to ask you, what is the hidden self? What do you mean when you say the hidden self?
Excellent question. The hidden self is your soul, basically. When you get past all of the variations of the personality with its likes and dislikes, its needs, wants, aspirations, fears, and fantasies, all of that is what we learn by incarnating in the body, being a person on the earth, a personification on earth. The hidden self is when you start to release all of that and you go into meditation and you start to connect with the unconditioned part of yourself, the part of you that is not has not been programmed. You follow me? So it's talking to your soul. You can tap into that through meditation. You can tap into that through tantra. You can tap into that through high levels of ecstasy and joy and trance and ritual. So it's tapping you into the source, the power source, which is the essence of who we all are. So that is the hidden self, and that is what we're on this journey back towards, to get back on that frequency and on that connection. So I hope I answered that.
That is truly powerful.
Yes, Brother Naazir Ra, this is Grasshopper, and
peace and love.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
I also watched The Hidden Self, and I definitely was impressed with your thorough knowledge, your humility, and your character. It's definitely in a different atmosphere. On one of the, I'm looking at your blog on YouTube, and you was talking about the power of writing on a clean white sheet of paper, like Yehudi style. We had Phil Valentine. We had so many scholars who are into metaphysics, who are into the Kemetic spiritual science, and they all taught on the importance of writing, not just writing down goals, assignments, or even strategies, but like writing down your life story. Can you expound on the power of writing your own life story?
Absolutely. Writing, what it does is express from your mind and from the hidden, the invisible world, you are expressing it onto paper. And what you're doing is you're forming new connections in your mind, and as you're writing, you're using different parts of your brain. Because as you're writing, you're simultaneously, especially if you're, designing a life or designing your intent, writing is also simultaneously you're going to have visions that's going to come to your mind as well. So I always, that I coach and our members to always write down your intent. And we have a whole thing that we go into where we distill our intent. It's very important that we first be clear on what we want to create. Because as we all know, sometimes it's easier to manifest something, but then it's hard to get rid of certain things, if you know what I'm saying. So we have to be absolutely clear on our intent. But yeah, the white sheet of paper, that's on the frequency of Tahuti. He's the archetype of the scribe. And it's one of the ways that we can really, get out what's going on in our mind and be able to read it later and reflect on it. One of the techniques I use when, I'm going through a dilemma, and I pass this on to my students as well, is write a letter to yourself as if you are the person asking for advice. Put it away for a week and then read it. and then you read it. You banished it to the subconscious. Now you're reading it again a week later, and now, or a few days later, now you can have another sheet of paper and write that person back, and you'd be amazed of how just being more objective, it can bring you a lot, better results. So yeah, there's a lot more to that, but that's the essence of it.
That is
awesome. Go ahead.
No,
I have another question for the brother. One more question for the brother. As far as meditation, we have your meditation here at the house, and I've been meditating for a while, different forms of meditation, and my spiritual uncle, Harold Welton, he kind of like hit me to transcendental meditation on when I truly believe. But first of all, I understand what alcoholism and certain drugs in my past, and with transcendental meditation, or meditation in general, to help calm down the nervous system, I am not just believing, but I'm truly convinced that the body by itself can get high, for lack of a better word, to really take you to the next realm. And what I discovered with transcendental meditation, as far as being still, I learned from my Uncle Harold Welton, the figure number 1. I use the figure number 1. I do the meditation for 20 minutes, and I focus on that 1, being one with that one sovereign spirit, being at one with the universe, being at one with myself, being at one with my family, being at one with peace, and I focus on that, and say, for instance, I got a scratch out and scratch my arm or something, and I get back into it, and I realize, and I learn from that transcendental meditation through certain chants or certain, using the figure 1, that I have developed a certain calmness. I was out last week going to, I think, Trader Joe's or somewhere, and I got cut off. We was running late because Trader Joe's was about to close, and a train came. I don't know where you stay at, but you got trains, and they come, and it was a long one, too,
Right.
It came. And then when it got to the end, every person came back. You know what I mean? Now, in my unenlightened days, I probably would have, said a few cuss words and be like, God, went into a belligerent. But
right.
I realized through that transcendental meditation, I was cool, man. I didn't even trip. I was well along with the flow. I was so at peace, like, eventually it's going to happen. And my mind was like, I'm going to get to Trader Joe's before it closed, which I did. I barely made it, but the kids, I made it. And I just want to know if you want to touch on transcendental meditation or different meditation, how you can really get a natural high by meditating and also heal yourself, too, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You said it yourself. What happens is when you go to that level of peace, you establish a connection to that. So you always have that place. It's a familiar place to you. So that is something that your mind can always tap back into that frequency. The same thing on the negative level where people always are on rage and criticism, that neural pathway or that frequency pathway becomes familiar. So it's so easy for them to get back into that place. So when you consistently meditate, you're developing neural pathways to that frequency and to release those certain endorphins to calm you down. There's been people that smoke, the marijuana, and it gets to a point where you can just meditate on it and still get the same results. So just a quick, you can save a few bucks like that. But yeah, you can do a lot with your mind. So absolutely, hands down, meditation, and especially, sometimes people have problems getting into that state. We get a lot of questions where people say, I can't meditate. So this is why we do the guided meditations, to assist people with staying on track with the meditation. So yeah, I fully support that.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Brother Naazir, I have a question for you also. On your documentary, or in your documentary, The Hidden Self, and since I have this opportunity, as you are here with me, and I can actually ask you this question, I'm really excited because I've been trying to wrap my brain around it for years now. There's a portion of your documentary where you explain how what we're seeing in our physical reality is our mind interpreting reflections of light. And it goes into saying that, like, the stars aren't really outside of us, they're really inside of us.
I have been trying to wrap my mind around that for so long. If you could just give me a brief understanding to help me kind of get it a little bit clearer, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one when you start talking on that level. And basically, we have to realize that everything we touch, hear, smell, and feel is coming to us through our senses. We can all agree to that, correct? Everything comes to us through our eyes or our ears or the sensory receptors on our skin or our olfactory receptors in our nose or our taste buds, everything. However, all it is different variations of pressure and different impressions that are then sent to our brain. So our brain has to tell us what it is. Would you agree?
Yes.
And the reason why I'm taking it step by step, because this is sometimes how the mind works. We have to establish one thing and then we build from there. So we establish that our brain tells us what we see and what we experience as reality. So where does the brain get the software? Because everything has to be decoded. It has to make sense out of it. Where does the brain get the software to give us this movie called our life? Well, it is our neurons or our neural network. What is a neuron? Neuron is a nerve cell or brain cell. So what gives the neuron the ability to decode the reality? Well, it goes into what controls the neuron, and that is none other than the DNA. So it is our DNA that gives us human physicality experience. It is a light code. It is a frequency. And it is by intelligent design. All right. So when I say quantum mechanics, this is what we're talking about now. This is quantum mechanics. And for those who don't know what that is, quantum means how reality works on a subatomic level, on a small level. So when we see our reality, it's only what our brain tells us. So when I say, or a scientist says, when you look into the sky, the stars are actually inside of you because it's being created inside your brain by the decoding of light that's entering your pupil and going to your brain, and now it's constructing this. So everything we see, we have to realize that it's a program. It's absolutely a program. This is why the only way you can go to another level is to upgrade on the root level in the program, which is your DNA, because your DNA controls your neurons. You follow me? So, so I don't know how deep you want me to go with that, but did you have a follow-up question? Did I answer it?
You did.
It's deep to wrap your mind around that because of the simple fact that, wow, that's like, man, all of this is in my mind. But see, it's fantastic, and should I say it's amazing, marvelous, because of the simple fact now I put myself in the driver's seat of my reality. Because if I can just get to that code, if I can just get to the point where I can restructure the network or restructure my subconscious mind, now I can create my own reality. So it opens a lot of doors. This is where we get the magic and everything else that people speak of.
Right. That is amazing. Goddess Kateri, did you want to ask a question?
No, I'm just listening like a little child here.
Okay. Now that you spoke on magic, because I understand, for many people, they get the positive thinking, or they, at certain levels, they get it. Okay, I think positive, but for some, it's still hard. They haven't quite reached the rim of magic, and I'm saying that because early in my journey of awakening, I've been going through the I guess they say the ascension process back to self for about 10 years now. And in the beginning, I made vision boards, I wrote things down, and I saw things manifest, powerful things manifest. Yeah, I saw that. But recently, over the last couple of years, and Kateri is my witness, I manifested these meta-rules. I call them meta-rules, and I think it's interesting because I'm going to go off topic just a second. Bobby Hemmett talks about this kind of stuff. People don't even understand what he is saying. And until I actually experience
what he was speaking about, I didn't understand what he was saying. But recently, I manifested a few Netarus. There were about 5 of them, and every Netaru I received was a literal exact image of a friend of mine, of different friends that I knew, people who were close to my circle at the time. And the Netarus were so precise that they actually had on the jewelry they were wearing, the dresses they were wearing, and one Netaru that reflected me, I ended up manifesting its dress, and the dress is very detailed. It's not like a dress you can just go to Walmart and buy. It is a dress that is very unique. And when I realized that it was the Netaru's dress, it blew my mind. Okay. Now, and then I've also taken a picture on my wall that resembled my God King. It looked just like him. And I asked him first, can I work with this picture? It looks like you. He said, yes, sure. I started doing things with this picture, and he's attracted to things that I've put around the picture. And he also ended up taking a picture identical to the picture on my wall. And it's like a real picture of like a group of people. And he ended up at a Black Man Symposium, and the picture came out identical to the one on my wall. Goddess Kateria, she's seen it too.
Yes,
now,
yes.
I have 2 questions for you. 1, is that magic? And 2, are we able to create in another person's experience?
Excellent. Yes, excellent question. Is that magic? Well, I don't like to label somebody else's experience, and I don't like too much to get into semantics, because words are just symbols for the reality we're trying to express. They're not the reality itself. So I would say it is what it is. It's you experiencing the omnipotent, the power, your God force, your divine energy. The key now is being able to control it and direct it at will with consistency, with continuous efficiency, so that it requires less and less energy. Oftentimes when we first get into it, we have something powerful, but then it kind of tapers off. But we have to get into that mindset of innocence, the innocence that we had when we started to really get into consciousness, the innocence that we have when we're like a wide-eyed child. Like I heard the sister say, I'm listening like a child. That's powerful to be in that place. Right. And I often envy people that's just getting into consciousness, because that's the most beautiful place to be, where everything is fresh, everything is new. You're like a kid in a candy store. When I got into consciousness, there was no such thing as the internet. So, just brothers on the corner and getting books, reading and building. But now it's this reservoir of information, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. So I would say to keep doing it and stay in that place of open and receptivity.
Yeah, you're so right. I too have that same feeling when I meet people who are very new to it, because I remember being bushy-eyed and just, not knowing what to expect, so much happened. I wasn't overthinking it. I wasn't like, okay, when is it going to happen? I know it works. It's definitely going to work.
Yeah.
But we do have a caller real quick, Naazir, and
you had a second
we'll get
question.
The second question, I want you to touch on that. Can we create in another person's experience?
Absolutely. You can. We're all connected. There's only one self. And the idea and the perception of separation is the illusion created by the demiurge or the ego or the personality. So even in psychology, they have a concept called the collective unconscious. So you go so deep in the mind, it has the ability to this phone, somebody trying to call me. It has the ability to tap into the consciousness of others, in so many words. So yes, you have the ability to do that.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, because so many people will tell you, no, you're not creating in there. And I had an experience where someone created in my reality, and they actually were able to show me how they did it. And it was very profound. It was my teacher early on when I first started learning metaphysics. But before we go on, I want to take this caller in. Caller with the last 4, 7864.
on the Superconscious Outlet with Brother God Naazir.
Hello. Thank you guys for accepting my call. I'm very, very thankful to have this opportunity. So my question is about the subconscious. I understand and I know that my subconscious does draw things towards me and brings forth the lessons that I need to learn and things like that. Now, what I want to know, what I want to figure out is how to clear my subconscious, so that way from the point that I clear it on forward, I can put the things that I want in my subconscious versus all this stuff has been placed there from my birth and probably even before this.
Excellent question, and that's actually the first step. And if you remember, if you have ever saw the broom, the West African archetype of the broom, where you clear the way, and I go into this in my boot camps, you clear the way first. Before you put in something new, you have to clear out the old. And this is also what we're going through on this planet. You can't put new wine in old wine sacks, as the master taught us as well. So what we're looking at is clearing this out, and it's almost like a subconscious detox. And, the best meditation, and this is not a sales pitch, it's just what it is. The best meditation, because I use it myself, is the Sleeping Serpent Evening Meditation. It's the purple one. If you go to hiddenpoweruniversity.com. And what this does is take you through a guided meditation. You go down into this cave that's behind a waterfall. And you go down these steps, and you clean out this particular room. It's all guided imagery. And you're throwing this trash into an incinerator. Now, your subconscious mind automatically populates all of the garbage that we have accumulated in our life or in those particular weeks. I suggest people do at least once a month. And it populates the bag, and then you throw it into an incinerator. And you do this in a state of trance. Remember the brother talked about going into the trance and transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
So when you do that on that frequency, now it really destroys a lot of things that are holding you back, because your higher mind already knows what's supposed to be in that bag. And while you're in a state of trance, you shouldn't focus on anything negative, because that will bring that power over in your life. So what you're doing is just throwing away all of that. So that's the evening meditation, and that will clear the way. That will help you get the deepest sleep. Some people even leave their body with this particular CD. But it'll help you get it happened to me. So it'll also bring up some drama. It'll bring up, you might have a nightmare. Don't be scared. Because it's a detox. And just as you detox your body and you find symptoms of the flu, you start breaking out, you start getting aches and all of this stuff, and you say, wow, this stuff didn't work. I'm feeling worse than I did before I detoxed. Well, what's happening is you're pulling all the toxins out of your cells into your bloodstream. Now your body has to eliminate it from the bloodstream. So this is why that happens. Well, the same thing applies with the mind. When you start to go into meditation, you start to interface with some of those things that's lurking in your subconscious, that may be issues with your parents, issues with your father, your mother, a sibling, an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, that something wasn't resolved, but that program is still running in your subconscious. Just like if you have a computer that you have for 10, 12 years, and it's like 1,000 little programs that you picked up from being on the internet, and you wonder why your system is going so slow. It's all programs. Well, it's the same thing with your mind. So that's a profound question, and that's what it is. That's the first step. So
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question for everybody here. All of the links and the places that you've been telling other callers to go to, is there any way that you guys can compile a list and probably maybe post it on Facebook or something for the listeners, because there's no way I can remember this. I don't want to write anything down right now. I just want to listen and give my full attention. So if you guys can please, the website that you just gave me, and there was one about astrology and how to find or different sources about your chart and things like that, I would greatly appreciate that. So thank you. That answered my question completely. I'll be looking forward to going to that website, which I don't remember at this point. I don't remember what you just said, but if you guys could write that down and put it on Facebook, I would greatly appreciate it.
We sure will. And before we go, Naazir will give us all of the ways to contact him, and I will be posting them in the event page, and Goddess Kateria will post the other information for you. So thank you so much, sis, for tuning in, and continue to listen.
Yeah. Yes, Brother Naazir, this is Grasshopper. I know we got about 10 minutes left. I have one more question, and we talked a lot, especially in the first hour, about the power of thought or the power of thinking. I do believe you said in The Hidden Self, it is a difference. I think it's a difference between thinking and knowing. I know one of my spiritual advisors, Elder Arthur, so fond of teach me, don't think too much, just be. You know what I mean? Be who that one sovereign spirit put you on earth to be. You know. And I was wondering, could you give? Is there a difference between thinking? I know it's a difference, but what are the differences between thinking and knowing?
Excellent question. Thinking is a series of questions and answers that we have in our mind. And so it's our mind's way of communicating, and it's really based on not knowing, because if we really knew, we wouldn't have to ask questions. We wouldn't have the doubt. So when you're in your zone, I'm not sure if you will, play basketball, but I remember when we played basketball back in the day, and it's a time when you're just in your zone. I'm not a great basketball player, but I had times when I was like, I was hot. I was on fire. That's when you're in the zone. You're not thinking about it. You're flowing with it. And this is the place where we come to our knowing. This is our inner authenticity. So when we constantly think, we're dissipating energy. So this is where, like you said before, the meditation comes in. Meditation will have you go within, and then you can tap into what I call the Doth, or what is called the Doth in the Kabbalistic system, which is the realm of the knower. It's the realm of knowledge. It's the hidden realm. So, yeah, and that knowing, it comes from stilling the mind. Stilling not only the talking with our mouth, but the talking that we have in our mind. And in that stilling of those waters, now we can see clearly to the bottom, and that's where the knowing is. So, yes, absolutely. Ashe.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.
Now, Naazir, for our listeners, just on a level, understanding what's going on in our community as an African people, there's certain things that are happening. Before you joined the show, we were talking about how, like situations like Trayvon Martin and things of that, Oscar Grant, how do good people, or babies, for instance, how do babies or good people attract negative situations in their life? Can you break that down a little bit for us so it can be better understood?
Yeah, absolutely. We are the ones that give events meaning. Anything that happens is really just an event. It's just something that took place. It's from our perspective and from our emotional selves and our person that we give that particular thing meaning, and it becomes either good or evil based on our perspective of how we see it. Now, I'm speaking from from a different level, from the level of the spirit and metaphysics. And what I mean by that is this. Not all things, like, for example, if somebody dies, is that bad? If somebody dies, is that outside of the plan? Because we already know that our physical existence is, first of all, our bodies are not us. And our physical existence is just an experience, because we are essentially spiritual beings having a human experience. So being human is the field trip. That's the excursion. Home is the spirit realm. It's the spirit realm. You follow me? So that's just an excursion. Now, we don't know what that soul came here to do. We don't know what that soul's purpose was. So we really don't have the credentials, I should say, to judge things as good and evil like that from the standpoint of talking from the spirit. In many ways, there's African cultures that actually cry and lament when a baby is born to this realm, because they have a certain level of consciousness of what this realm really is. So they cry and they wear black. However, when the entity transitions to the next realm, they put on different colors and they celebrate. So,
that's deep.
on the surface, the bark always looks rough and grimy and disagreeable oftentimes, the bark. But the master teaches us not to look at the bark, but to judge events by the fruit it bears. So, that's what I do. It's all based on your intent. My intent is to ascend in frequency and to see things from the level of the God self. And with that, I don't, I don't feed into a lot of that, to be quite frank with you.
Right. Ashe, I agree with that 100%. Before the show ends, I would like for you to let all of our listeners, callers, know what you have going on now, your new books, your older books, how they can get in contact with you, and any websites that they need to go on to purchase any of your products.
Oh, of course, yes. We do have the man, I just lost my train of thought. the secret alchemy of the Tree of Life coming up, and we're going to be going into the whole Kabbalistic Tree of Life and how to use it to assist in our ascension process. We're going to go also into the tarot deck. How all the paths in the Tree of Life, every branch on the Tree of Life, every branch is a celestial archetype. It's an aspect of the tarot. So that's going to be extremely, extremely powerful. That's coming up in October down here in Atlanta. And there's a book that comes with that as well. So that could be found at hiddenpoweruniversity.com. What new book do I have out? Oh, Better Living. You talking about the Better Living book?
Yes.
Yeah, that one, we're going to have that available at the event. That's for people that's really looking to have more or less a community. We call it the conscious community, but a community lives together. Follow me? A community it has unity in its proximity. So we want to have a community down here in all over the world, actually, but starting here in the New Atlantis, we are building a community, and so that we can have our children. I think you said you had a son. I have children as well, and children are very open and receptive. And when they are always being interacted with people that are not on the frequency, it's another thing that we have to kind of, what's the word for it? We have to go through the whole thing of undoing what the children pick up at school, what the children pick up in the neighborhood. We have to always be undoing that. So the philosophy is if we can live around each other, we can interact with each other, and now we can build our light and congregate our light. So that book goes into that. It talks about homeschooling. It talks about just everything about the structure of the family and just getting things back into divine order in the conscious community. So that could be found. Yeah, that could be found at the event. We for spiritual reasons, we didn't want to put that on the particular website. It's something that we're offering to people who actually come down to the event.
And the event, what is the event called? And I know it's in Atlanta, Georgia, because I always see the post. What is this event in Atlanta, Georgia? What is it called?
This is our event that we're having at the Western Airport. It's called the Secret Alchemy of the Tree of Life. If you go to hiddenpoweruniversity.com, and then you see the banner there, and you click on that, and it'll give you more information. There's going to be a free shuttle from the airport. We're going to have a banquet there. It comes with a book. You can bring a free guest, and it's just a lot of benefits from that. It's a full-day course, and if you're a member, you also get a discount on that. You also get discounts on all of our wellness products coming on out to the event. So, yeah.
And what is your other website, Naazir? Is NaazirRa.com or just Naazir.com?
Everything is going through hiddenpoweruniversity.com right now.
Okay.
So you can go to any of the other websites. You can go to Naazir.com, but it's just going to link you back through all the links to Hidden Power University because we're transitioning to more of a university type of model.
Okay. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, I thank you so much for joining us on the show. You were amazing. You were profound. I am so happy to finally have the opportunity to meet you. I believe that this is my law of attraction in working, because I remember documentaries and wanting to know you personally, and now I have the opportunity to speak with you. So this is definitely a manifestation and a dream come true for me. So I thank you for joining the Superconscious Outlet. If there's any last words you want to share with the listeners, please feel free.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very humbled by that, and it's my honor to converse with you and kick it with y'all. So come on down to Georgia. We'll be looking forward to it. And for everybody listening, invest in your power. Step up to your power. Seek the power that's within, and all things will be transformed. That's what it's all about. And, everything external is a reflection of the internal. So that is from the masters, and that's what I would leave you with. And I hope that everybody, take heed to that as much as possible. Stay on the frequency. Be around conscious people. Get the tools. We have a tremendous amount of tools to help your frequency as well. So that's what I would say. And
wow.
And just thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Brother God. Thank you.
Yes, this is Grasshopper Pianki. Once again, I want to thank our listeners, the callers, and also our honorable guests, Kateria Knowles and Brother Naazir Rock. We have a host of great programs that takes place throughout the week, starting tomorrow with the program that's entitled Let's Talk About It. The topic tomorrow is the past life karmic debt. The past life karmic debt. And the host of that show is Mariah Davis and Tiffany L. Gibson. Tomorrow, Sunday, 7 p.m., you can either tune in by calling number 646-787-8180, or you can visit us on www.blogtalkradio.com/Universal Radio number 2 tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Also, we have the Jay Allen Show Monday night. This Monday night at 7 p.m. start time. They got an interesting topic. You're turning me off in the bedroom. This Monday, at 7 p.m. The host is Jay Allen Greer, and his co-host is Living in Harmony. Once again, if you want to tune in, 646-787-8180 or 8180 or blogtalkradio.com/Universal Radio number 2. Tuesdays, we have the Getting It In show. The host is Lyra Zerbecker, and I do believe Naazir Shaheed. And the topic is going to be on the teachings of Dr. Malachi Z. York, fact or fiction. You can call in at 347-857-1166. Start time is 7 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have a new show that takes place on Thursdays called Black Love. The host is Naazir Shaheed, and the co-host is Liz Rebecca. Once again, the start time is 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know the title, the topic they're going to be discussing, but I guarantee you it will be interesting. Oh, and by the way, Wednesdays we have a show called You Must Learn. That is hosted by Lamar Williams and Martin McBee Brown. Wednesday, 7 p.m., once again, Pacific Standard Times. All the times are Pacific Standards. And if you want to tune in to that show, Wednesday night, You Must Learn, call 646-787-8180, or you can go to blogtalkradio.com/Universal Radio number 2. So definitely support these shows. They're very uplifting, very inspiring, and you will definitely get your conscious prick and take you to the next level. And next Saturday, I can't forget about our show. Next Saturday, we're going to have one of my sergeants, my teachers, my admirals, Harold Welton. We're going to talk about revolutionary past and present, and he's going to talk about revolutionaries, how we can pretty much we talked about today, how we can incorporate the metaphysics, the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, and the physical aspect, encompass all the ones, so once again we can reach our highest and greatest performance. So next Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 646-787-8180, or blogtalkradio.com/Universal Radio number 2. And I'm going to turn it back over to the great Goddess Coach Shauna Quayle Jones-Dow. Holla at her.
Thank you. Goddess Queen Kateria Knowles, let me thank you also for joining us and pricking our consciousness with your pearls of wisdom. So thank you all for who joined, all the callers who listened. Let's really dig deep, and let's tap into our hidden selves, family. Ashe, good night, and have a wonderful evening.
Ashe, good night. Thank you.
Peace.